All right, everybody, welcome into another episode of the Underground Runaround. I'm your host, Brad Ross. We got our co-host, Pav Daddy, and our special guest this evening, although he made a terrible title for his name there at the bottom of the screen.
Oh.
It is Blake Bollinger from Deep Fried Breaks. What's up, brother? How are you?
Good, man. How are you? I didn't know that, we had like a creative name contest going on in the title, so I could have done a little something, at least on a last name letter up.
Listen,
You could have been Brad Ross.
you could have been whoever you wanted to be.
Nobody can be Brad Ross, okay?
Hey, we let people do whatever they want to do here.
You want to talk about a one-on-one super fracture, right there it is.
It's not very valuable, though.
More like a
Trust
printing
me.
plate. More
Yes.
Like a high-end printing. Yeah.
I am the printing plate of the hobby. I'm okay with that, though. It's not so bad.
A little smudge here and there.
They need me. You know what I mean? They need me.
Like
That's
the
all.
one that you can tell has been like really used, like not one of these fake ones.
I pulled the nicest plate out of Contenders baseball the other day. No joke. It was a Casey Mize. It was an autographed plate, but it was clean on the front. You could see all the details in the face, and on the back of the card, it actually had the card info. It wasn't just like, this is a plate. It was actually really nice.
I pulled a Jose Abreu back then. His first one I ever pulled. I guess it would have been like Bowman Inception. So didn't have the rookie card logo, but it was like one of his first autos. I didn't know any better. I graded it. It came back at 9.5, and everybody's like, "What?" And I was like, "This is normal, right? Like it's brand new card out of the pack." And they're like, "No, printing plates don't."
No, that and framed cards. I've had the worst luck with like Gold Label or even Transcendent cards, all of that stuff. Pav, if you could keep opening and closing your bottle in front of your microphone, it'd be great. Just keep doing that.
What is that?
Yeah, what are you drinking?
What's that? The fetish, where they make the weird noises.
Oh, that's that's funny you say that. That's actually been brought up on the show before. ASMR.
Yeah, ASMR. Yeah.
That's Brad's new gig, After Hours. He goes from this straight to that.
Yeah.
Apparently, I have those types of tendencies with how I change my inflection and things like that. So people say that, or people have said that.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not into weirdo shit, though. No offense to the weirdos out there. We love you guys, too.
Yeah.
But
no judgment.
I just want to do what I want to do. I don't want to have to do that. So if you get a little bit of it while we're doing this, then enjoy it while you got it, But I'm not.
It's authentic, right? You can't manufacture that.
Yeah, I don't fake anything. But, dude, it's really good to have you on the show. Blake, how long you been a breaker now?
I think we started 2018. So coming up on 4 years. Started slow. I mean,
Yeah.
The first break I did was a museum hobby single box random divisions that took like 6 days to fill, and I gave one of the divisions away. So
that's not so bad though. One box, random 6 spots. My first was 17 Topps Chrome Jumbo.
Yeah.
2 boxes. I did 2 boxes, and I sold teams. There might have been some combos, but I sold teams, and I did it just to break even. I broke for like my first year or so until Amanda started getting on me about not being around the kids and stuff.
Right.
I did it for free, basically.
That's what I tell people all the time. Like, when you're coming in, you can't make money. Like, there's just too many. Like, you can hopefully get to the point where you can make a little bit, but like at first, there's just too many people out there. You got to do something to get your name out there. Like, I think the first probably 2 months I was doing stuff, I was losing money. And my wife was going crazy. Like, what the hell are you doing? Like, you're spending time and you're losing money. I'm like, maybe down the line it'll turn into something.
Yeah. My wife didn't understand it until money started showing up.
Yep.
And then one day I'm like, hey, I'm not putting my hard hat back on.
No.
She went, what? Because we have a little one with Turner syndrome, and the only reason I'm even saying that is because it's Turner Syndrome Awareness Month. So shout out to that. But insurance, you need the insurance. So I had insurance. For those of you that don't know, I'm a union Boilermaker by trade, not Purdue.
Not the beer and whiskey combination.
Yes, no, not the drink either. But that has perks, retirement, annuity, or a pension and an annuity, health benefits. The trade-off to that is you work ridiculous hours, especially if you're good at it. And that's how you get rich. You know, you trade all your time for money.
Right.
But the insurance, everybody bitched about the insurance when I was in the trades. Like, this insurance sucks, blah, blah, blah. Well, be self-employed, buy your own insurance, and try that out. Holy shit, it sucks.
Yep.
Absolutely sucks. So we live outside of Chicago, within an hour of, like, we can get to the White Sox Stadium in 30 minutes. To get into the city's about 45. We always go to the children's hospitals. Well, now that I'm a self-employed business owner and I have insurance through the state of Indiana, I have to go to Indianapolis to those hospitals for all my kids' stuff. So not only does it suck and it's not as good, it's actually more inconvenient to even use it because of where we live. I'm by the third largest city in the United States, which has some of the best hospitals and anything you could ask for within shouting distance, and instead I got to go 3 times farther for not
care.
Yeah, not necessarily better care, right? So that's one of the drawbacks. So changing all the doctors and specialists and shit, she hated it. She's like, I don't feel like you care about what, and now she's good with it now that we're all settled in, but that was just like her freak out moment.
Oh yeah.
I'm like, listen, I'm not playing it safe because I'm killing myself doing this. I want to try this out. And at that point, by mid 2020, I was over 3 years into it, and I put too much time into it to just give it up. But I was at that point.
When did you go full time?
Mid-June of 2020.
Okay.
Because that was I was a union steward, which is like just like the bargainer guy. So like what baseball's going through right now, I would have been like the mediator of sorts, or like the representative for the players union.
Well,
that was me.
Hopefully you were better at your job than those people are at theirs.
It's to be the man for the men is the worst job on earth. To be the middleman between the men and the company, because both sides hate each other and both sides hate you, pretty much, because they don't think you're doing enough for them. And it was very off-putting. And I tried to do my job right and by the book, and every way I went about it, I was pissing somebody off. So I did that for literally all of 2020 while the world was getting wild and nobody knew how to handle it. And so that was a whole nother deal. And that was my first real lengthy job as a steward. So I was very new to the opportunity too. So it sucked when it was over. Also being a steward, you're supposed to be on the job no matter what. So like if people are working late, you're working late. So all of that, you got to be there for the men if they need something. So I worked almost 1,800 hours before the middle of June in 2020. And that's a full-time job for most people for the whole year. And I was doing case breaks on top of it.
Yeah.
I was still breaking 3 or 4 cases a week, sorting shipping. So when people say we're behind on shipping, I take 5-7 days to ship. I don't even fucking have. I can't. Like if you're a consumer and you're buying into brakes, and I don't want to sit here and talk about brakes all night. But if you're buying into brakes and it's taking a week to ship because so-and-so's got something going on, get fucked.
Yeah.
It's not acceptable. This is a business of rapid turnaround, including getting new products in and out as a dealer, and for the customers being able to get their new products on the market if they're choosing to sell them, because we know how quickly the prices drop and then stabilize after a release. So I have no tolerance for that shit if you can't ship quickly, because I was literally working 100 hours a week and still getting my shit out within 2 days, getting 2 or 3 hours of sleep a night. But that's because that's what I wanted to do. So if you want to do something, you do it. You don't make excuses.
Right. Yeah. I mean, especially, new release stuff. Like, that's my whole thing today. It's like, hey, if we hit something crazy, some Wander or anything, I'll get it out today. I can't promise you I'll get the whole raise set out today. Right.
Absolutely.
Your priority will go today, whatever. So
when Wander's first autograph cards came out, same thing. That was spring 19 Bowman.
Yep.
I was working night shift on a outage somewhere in U.S. Steel, and we were filling cases, and we were working 12s, but I think we're doing what they call bumping heads. So basically, we're working a 12-hour shift, but we weren't coming off the job site until the day shift came and took the tools out of our hands. It's one of those jobs that never stops working. Like they don't ever want you to stop. amongst everybody, you split up. So like night shift split up all their lunches, so not everybody goes to lunch at the same time. So people are just always on a job site working. It's something, and that's what the customer wants. You got to give it to them. So that's literally like a 13-hour day before you factor in the getting ready to travel to the job and then coming home, showering, getting ready for bed. So you're talking like 14, 15 hours at that. And then I was breaking a case on top of that. I hit the first case of 19 Bowman. I hit an Atomic Wander first auto. And even at the time, that was huge because he was a huge hype man. So at that time, and we're talking pre-hobby boom, that I think it was like $3 or $4 grand at that time. And Brett Comensoli, our news guy, was the guy who hit it. And he's like, hey, dude, anyway, you get me that card. Before I went to bed that day, and I had to be up at like 5 in the evening. It was already like 10 in the morning. Like, yep, got it in a box. Asked my wife, like, hey, please take this to the post office for Brett. It's important, But you got to do those types of things. That's what separates you and helps you out.
Yeah, speaking of like the Wander hype, is he, just kind of while we're on the subject, is he the only guy to like, kind of go wire to wire, if you will, like as the guy in a huge prospect release, and then when it, like has been the guy all the way through?
I think you could say Vladdy might because he came in hot and then got shit on for being fat.
Yeah,
and Vladdy never did anything bad. Like he never hit below 270.
Right,
and that's just not good enough.
Yeah, Chris Bryant.
Yeah, Bryant
at his time.
He was too. Yeah. That's really when I started getting into cards.
Yeah, I got right after I think 16 was like when I kind of got back into it. Like now I remember 17 Bowman, Kevin Maitan or whatever the guy's name was the guy, and like I remember I got and my wife and I got married right around that release, and like apparently you get a present on your wedding day. I was like, Bowman, just whatever the new release of baseball cards is, that's fine. So I opened it, and it wasn't an auto, but I hit something of Acuna, and I was like, damn it, I wanted a Maitan. And, I think I flipped it for like $8. It was like, it wasn't anything crazy. It was like a refractor first or something. Not auto, but
right.
It's just crazy how, from like a hype Bowman release, I don't, some of them have stayed hot, but like Adley in 19 draft, but he hadn't made it up yet.
And he's a catcher.
Yeah, he's a catcher.
Henry Davis, same thing. He's a catcher. Yeah. But the only thing I think that'll help Henry is just how bad I personally think draft is this year.
Right.
We did a whole episode on it. I've been ripping Panini value mixers for the last 2 weeks. We're pulling out of like Elite Extra and products like that. We're pulling Henry Davis autos and like Khalil Watson for the Fish, who's missing out of draft, and Brady House, who's missing autographs. Like those guys have autographs in boxes that cost less than $100, and they're on-card autographs. But since it doesn't have all the bells and whistles and your stupid little first sign, people just turn their nose up at it. But it's like, hey, dude, that's the same human being that's signing that card. What's the difference? Oh, you're a snob. I understand. You're not a collector. You're a snob. Okay,
like, carry on. Like you can see, and it's like, all right, like. I like the Leaf stuff, and like some of it's a little out there, and like a lot of the times, for the most part, like, hey, you can go buy this for $350 or go buy this for $50, and
yeah, right. Speaking of Leaf, I actually emailed Brian today, asked him to come on the show.
Okay.
So I'm gonna try and get him on. He actually responded, which was cool.
Yeah, he's pretty accessible. Like
right. I've done plenty of deals with him. I've never, and I tell people this all the time, I've never had an actual conversation with him, but we've done plenty of business whether he knows it or not.
Right.
And I just sent him an email. I sent him a letter. I said, listen, you've done these things that I've been big fans of. I said, I love how you work with what you're allowed to work with. I said, I'd love to have you on the show sometime and just, have you talk about whatever you want to talk about, really, as far as how he came up through the hobby. And he sent me an email back pretty quickly, too, because I was at the gym. And he sent it back. He said, thanks for reaching out. Hit me up early March. We can discuss what might work. So
nice.
I'm like, hell yeah. Like, whatever. And I sent him one back. I said, dude, I appreciate you responding. I said, whatever the terms are. I said, it's your, your time, your rules, however you want to do it.
I tell you, you're not going to hear back from the Panini or the Topps guy like that. So
right, I sent a formal request through Fanatics website for a media request.
Good luck. Yeah.
Well, the problem is, I don't know if this is me feeling entitlement because I'm not that kind of guy, but I've been at this going on 5 years. I'm an authorized dealer for CSG, which you know just as well as I do who they are and what they're affiliated with. And I have this podcast, which has hit 108th on the Apple Top 250 baseball charts. So it's not like I'm a fucking nobody. Like, yeah, I swear. I got a potty mouth. Big deal. But I'm a real dude that doesn't lie to people.
Right. So, that's what we love.
So my problem with that is, like, I feel like I should at least deserve a response. Like, if you tell me, no, hey, Brad, we don't like the way you do anything. We don't want to talk to you. I'd respect that more than just ignoring me.
Yeah, I agree.
Like, just call me a piece of shit, and at least I know where I stand.
Right. Yeah. Like, I know you're helping push their product. Well, at least, you at least elicit a response.
What's
right.
the next release?
I'm sorry. I muted you for a second, Pav. Sorry, bud.
You fucking would.
I did.
You fucking would.
What's
the next release?
Tone it down over there.
Probably Archives.
Topps release?
Yeah.
What? Yeah. I actually have it up here.
Are the Archives signatures usually?
It should have all that stuff. Archives comes out before Flagship. That's all January stuff that got pushed. But you're probably right. Let's see. 2021 Bowman Heritage is still slated for February with no date. There's nothing else that comes out
Inception
in February. March might be jumping though. March, let's see. Topps 22 opening day baseball on March 9th.
Well, maybe on May 9th.
Heritage on the 16th.
You got,
Don Russ on the 16th.
When's our 1 week a year that we care about Topps Inception? When is that?
March 20th. Okay. As of now.
So between March 20th and probably March 30th, man, that is going to be the hottest product in the world. And
right.
We'll talk about it again on April 1st.
Mm-hmm. So I've been making fun of Bowman Inception. That was the hardest case I had to fill.
Yep.
4 days to fill a case. I'm like, this has double the hits and it's half the price of your one hit. And then one troll actually made the only logical argument and went, well, the Topps one has patch autos.
Like, but they're thicker and they're not even.
Well, I know.
They're like flat or they're fake. Yeah.
They're the hat ones and shit. Yeah.
That wanders at 20,000 now.
No way.
Yeah.
Well, we'll get to that. I'm not trying to get there yet. Yep, 20,200.
I'm just,
no way that's getting paid for.
No.
That's gone up $7,000 since before we started the stream right now that we've only been doing for 18 minutes.
Yeah. I'm wondering how long it's like, so how with the baseball holdout going on, like how long can these values withstand nothing going on the field?
I don't know. That's a good question. Like the parallels, I think is going to be a little different. I mean, hell, it might actually help his cause. So there's no baseball because he can't go 0 for 4, and everyone freak out. Like I remember, Luis Robert was like the last guy that I remember. Like his flagship went up after release because like I remember on release day because back then it was somewhat profitable to buy flagship, base parallels, send them to PSA, and hope you got a 10. And in between when you did that and by the time you got a back from PSA is when everybody decided that nobody gave a shit about paper base anymore. But I think like on release day you could buy like $10-15 and they got up to like 25-30 a piece, and then they came back down. But I don't know. I don't think Wander will do that just because you can't grade them. But I don't know. I mean, it'd be interesting. Like, I think the parallels are still going to go insane, though.
Parallels are going to go nuts. I think parallels moving forward are going to just get bigger and bigger, and I've been saying this for months, because especially if they continue to get harder and harder to hit,
Right.
like 2022's number to 99 card is harder to get than 2021's number to 99 card, if you look at it that way. And year over year, until we figure out when this thing's going to plateau in the production realm. Because I know you like Topps Finest, and I feel like last year Topps Finest was the only product that added color and actually increased the frequency in which they came out of the packs.
Right.
Every other product has added color, but made even the color you got the year before harder to hit.
Yeah, I think Topps Finest, I think it did stay the same print run, but they just added.
Yeah, Finest, that was a fantastic job. But people turn their nose up at that because it's an 8-box case. So when you sell it as a break, you're like, you only get 16 hits, and they're like, oh, you only get 16 hits, like.
And 11 of them are going to be pitchers, or maybe,
right.
But still, like, you're not. It's a cheaper release. It's like,
right.
That's one of those, like, I tell people all the time. It's like, I think last year the Angels were the big hit because Trout had the little.
Yep. He had the set.
And I tell people all the time, it's like, well, obviously I'm a breaker. I'm going to, like, I'm like you. I'm not going to lie to you. I'm not going to sit here and tell you, oh, the Needy Stars and Stripes, it's really the best product out there just because I've got 3 cases in the couple. Like, no. But like Finest, I would tell you, like, hey, every PYT you see, the most expensive team is going to be less than a single box. Like if you go buy a box.
Yeah. No, absolutely.
And the way Finest is, you're banking on 5, maybe 10 cards throughout a full case to kind of make your buck, if you will. And that's the epitome of like, hey, just go buy the Angels if you like, or go buy whoever and try your luck on that instead of going and ended up with I don't know, who was the base pitcher that everyone hit last year or whatever. Like, you can go get a Shane McClanahan auto green to 99 and a Yerman Mercedes. I don't think he was in it yet, but or you could, buy the Angels and try your luck there or something like that. But yeah, they did a good job with it. I think you're talking about like kind of the plateau. I think this year will be interesting to see, like, because I think from the get-go that Topps kind of knew they were going to have to get bought out. But I still think they probably were operating in like a month or 2 window where they didn't know. And that's probably when they were firing up the presses for Series 1. So they might have been. I'll be interested to know. You'll never find out, but like, I love some truth serum if somebody high up at Topps could tell you, it's like, yeah, we operated under the knowledge that this would be like our last big flagship logos, so we printed it tenfold more than we've ever printed anything else.
I don't know. I don't necessarily disagree, but I don't see why fanatics of all people would try and limit print runs.
Oh, I don't think they will either.
You know what I mean? As far as a flagship set, I think they'll double whatever the production is now, just so they can have it in every single spot everywhere. They have a Fanatics logo banner.
Yeah.
I don't know what that really means, but nobody does because nobody's talking about it.
No.
Like, I would love to just pick someone's brain. Like, hey, do you guys have any strategy in place?
I don't think they know.
Plans,
really
right? It's getting to that point where people are done kind of worrying about what's going to happen to distribution and breakers and shit. Like, no, we just want to know if you guys know. Like, we know you wanted it, obviously, because you went and made your move. You made your power move and dropped a ton of money on somebody and got some licensing, and then went and made Topps sweat it out. So, I mean, I would love to hear how that all played out. But, like, even the people I don't know anybody, but even the people I talk to are like, we don't know anything.
Right.
How does nobody know anything?
Yeah, I mean,
I'm not looking to grab a headline. I just really want to know how to plan my business, basically. Like,
right.
I need to know how to build my roadmap. Help me out, somebody. If you're listening, come talk to me and Blake. We need to know. We're little guys.
We don't want to be relying on DealerNet for.
Does the consumer want cheaper product or a smaller print run? I mean, it's really going to be just analysts running those numbers.
I think you're just going to have everything because there's already so many releases. You're gonna get the exclusive, super rare, high end shit that we always
Right.
have. You're gonna get the flagship, but I think it's gonna be like more like a big league product. I think is what I could see flagship turning into. That way they could print it to the moon.
I mean, it's fine.
Yeah,
But-
and if it stays as it is, it's fine because we all know what this is. Anybody who's been around knows exactly what to
Right.
expect.
And the more, like, me and you, we don't love breaking this stuff. Like, I mean, it's the ultimate. You break a whole case to hit 2 cards.
Yeah, I hate
You know,
it.
you're ripping 5,000 cards, and maybe 1 or 2 of them are good. And I don't know. It's like, you know, Pat brought up a good point. It's like, do you want the print run or do you want the cheaper boxes? Like, I was arguing with some guys on Twitter today. It's like, hey, it's supply and demand. Like, people want Wander Franco cards. Like, either you can, they keep, you know, the whole thing has been production. It's like 7-fold what it was in 2019 or something like that. It's like, okay, if you kept production the same as it was in 2019, then a hobby box is going to be $800.
Right.
Or you could make 7 times it up like you did, and a hobby box is what, $100? You know, so it's just a matter of, yeah, do you want cheaper,
Right.
you know, entry, or, and yeah, the hits aren't going to be as good, but you didn't pay as much.
I just think we're gonna have to see, or the manufacturers are gonna have to see, and they're not going to see it because the biggest problem is, like, they'll never think that they make enough product as long as it all gets distributed out and they're
Right.
not actually sitting on it. So the thing is, people will have to, so it's going to take a long time because people are going to have to get burned on having too much wax with nowhere to go with it, even if it's quality. And then a subsequent year for them to not order more than, you know, not order the same amount that they did previously. And then when the manufacturers are still sitting on some going, man, why do we still have this product?
Yeah. Well, I mean,
Yeah.
I think if you go, like, you go to Topps.com right now and still buy 2021 Heritage High Number. And I think you're going to take a look at that and be like, all right, the rookie class wasn't great, but it should still,
Yeah.
like, it's not a terrible, it's not a great price, but like that wasn't a terrible product. I know you.
No,
just
I actually
ordered
had some insane cases
Yeah.
of Heritage High Number.
And-
Insane. But that's the only product in the history of business that I've been in where I actually got allocated more cases than I asked for.
Yeah.
So here's my big problem with distribution, and I don't give a shit who's listening to this, is I had to go back and look, because when they told me my number, I didn't believe them. They told me I was getting 10 cases. I said, there's no way in hell I would have ever asked for 10 cases.
Yeah.
Ever. But I said, you know what? I got the means and the time to move it. So I'll move it. Maybe that'll help me out. No, it didn't fucking help me out. Not a bit. But I went back and looked. I'm like, listen, I only asked for 7 cases. I said, but I'm going to take all 10. I said, keep that same energy when them Bowman draft allocations came out. You know what I mean? I'm like, I'm not well financed to the moon. I'm not rich. I'm not loaded. I can't buy 1,000 cases. I do okay, and that's what I do. And I do that. I moved the 10 cases. I actually still have 1 just sitting. But I moved 9 of the cases.
Bad hold, yeah.
I moved 9 cases, and then series 1 comes around, and I'm getting 1 hobby and 1 jumbo case of the most printed product known to man, but offered additional jumbo cases at an additional number. Like, what do you mean? I've done more business every year. I got the financials. I did my first year. I did like 250,000. My second year, I did like 400. My third was somewhere in the same, and then last year was over 700. So I'm doing more every year, and I'm getting less and less and less product. But they're making more and more and more.
Well,
Why? How? Like, fuck.
Yeah.
What do you got to do?
The problem is, and you kind of hit on earlier, like, yeah, I try to run everything off a card, like, you know, credit card. Like, you get the points and turn it over every month. You know, whenever something comes in, I'm paying it right back. You know, day of, whatever. But like, the problem is you've got guys who maybe are coming from other industries, or, you know, have a fat checkbook. Mom and dad got some money, whatever.
Yep.
And they're calling up the distro, hey, send me $1 million worth of stuff, and they're like, okay. And you know, it's
Yeah.
just,
That's exactly what it is, and
it
that's
sucks, but And it's the old adage, you got to spend money to make money, but at the same time, it's like you're pushing out people who, I don't want to say doing it the right way, whatever. Like,
Yeah, doing it the right way.
yeah, they don't care. I mean, they want,
That's why I'm so angry about it.
theoretically, yeah. Like if somebody handed me $25 million tomorrow, yeah, I'd probably just call up and like you don't care if you can't move it.
Right.
Like, if you've got that kind of money, you got that kind of capital to play with, you don't give a shit. Like you're talking about, like Heritage, high number. I think it probably went down because kind of the trend here lately is product releases on a Wednesday or Friday. Through the weekend, it shoots up 10, 15%. And then a week or two later, it's back down 10 or 15% from release price. And you don't give a shit if you've got millions in the bank and you're sitting on 100 cases of Heritage high number. Like it helps you get 10 cases of Bowman Draft at allocated prices. And
But the counter argument to that is, why did I get 10 cases? That's because people didn't want it.
didn't want it, and they
those same people that didn't want it are still the same people that get all the high-end elite releases where they're making like people can make more money off of one box of National Treasures, basketball or football, than I'd make off 4 cases of Heritage high number.
Oh, way more.
You know what I mean? And I'm moving, what is that, like 12,000 cards compared to 8?
Yep.
Like, fuck.
The people who get allocated like shit tons of NT and stuff like that. That's where the money is. That's one of the greatest gigs in America.
Yeah. I got allocated a case of Dynasty Baseball in 2020.
I think I got 3 boxes.
And I got no National Treasures. They released on the same week of baseball, mind you. National Treasures Baseball. The year before, I got like 4 cases of Treasures Baseball because nobody liked it. And I was like, I love this. This is the greatest product that ever. I love National Treasures Baseball for the price, as long as the price is right. Like where last year's is at right now is too high.
Right.
But when they were allocated at 400 or something like that back in the day, and used to break it at 2,000 a case and make your 400 minus the fees and whatever. But that was always the way to do it. You could do it all day long.
Right, and then they put a Costanza relic in it, and everybody wants to go chase it. Yeah.
I really want one. I really do.
Yeah.
I'd be lying if I said I didn't.
Right.
Why hasn't Topps copied the National Treasures?
Well, they copied fucking the downtown cards. You guys open some flagship? Oh, baby. You see those? Blake, you got one for us? Who'd you pull? I pulled Soto and Tatis today.
Have I told you what they are? They're not home field advantages. They're uptowns.
Uptowns? Is that?
We're calling them uptowns.
Calling them uptowns.
Panini has downtown. We're going with uptowns.
You think Topps would be better than that, to call it home field advantage? Uptown is it. That's it. I'm putting a petition in.
Like, I like it. Like, whatever. I like the downtowns. I've got a few. I'm moving for a guy right now. He asked me to put them on eBay for him. It's like, I like them. They're really cool cards. He had a Luis Robert, and I was like, I might, I can't bid on it. But, like, whatever. I was like, I really like this. It's nice. But obviously, you want the licensed version of it if you can. But at the same time, it's like literally everybody always makes that joke. Hey, you can copy my homework, but just change a few things up so it's not as noticeable. Well, that's what this is. Like, at least make the background different. Like, hold on, let me see if I can find this because it's literally the same damn thing.
Hey, I mean, they all use the same printers, though. You know what I mean? Oh yeah, it's the same. Yeah.
Like it's the same foil background too. Like it's the same cardstock.
I love it.
Even the back, it's like
I love it.
Just
how much are those going for? Do you have any idea?
I actually pulled a Harper out of hobby this morning for myself. I got like 3 allocated hobby boxes. Like whatever, I'll rip one. I sold the Harper for $140 on eBay.
Yeah, that's amazing. That's gonna help. That'll help box prices tremendously. Right. I got one out of each case I did. Are they case hits? Like I didn't
think so. Yeah.
That's a huge case hit because that's a trendy design that people like, and it's on a licensed version for baseball people now.
I can't wait to see what Series 2 has instead of kabooms. It's splats.
Splats.
Yeah.
Fucking splats coming Series 2.
I can't wait to get my let's go Riley Green splat. Nah, he won't be up for Series 2, but
You're gonna get some stained glass cards and update.
Right, yeah. We'll call it church windows.
Yeah, church windows. That's right.
It's unreal.
Yeah. The old zoo print parallel.
Yeah. Wild
Yeah.
animals. Joe Exotic 101. Yeah, there we go.
Oh, I got a Joey Exotic somewhere.
That's right. Yeah.
Shout out to Leaf, baby.
I mean, they're clever as hell with the way they do all that.
I remember when those first come out. It was fucking Carol Baskins first.
It was right around National, wasn't? Because everybody's like going crazy up there for them.
Well, I think that's when Joe come about.
Okay.
But the Carol Baskin order cards came in like months before Joe, because obviously they were able to get in contact with her, and he was in jail or whatever.
Yeah.
So when those emails came out, that was the first thing. I'm like, I don't want her card.
All right, I want Joe.
I want Joe. It's like, get your ass in jail and get him to sign some sticker sheets. Let's go. Somebody set up a visit. What are we doing? He'll take some commissary. Let's go. The dude was broke. I watched the documentary. Yeah. And then they did it. I'm like, yes, this is great. So, dude, I wanted to ask you a question while we're here.
Yes.
Specifically, because you'll know the answer to this. When you started like with your website and got everything moving, and you're situated where you are today, and we share customers, not like intentionally, but we do have some of the same customers. There's no doubt about that.
Right.
Like you do email campaigns pretty well. Is that like something you really put thought into, or is that just something to come about?
I mean, I guess it kind of just came about. I mean, yeah, I think the deep fried breaking newsletter.
Yes.
I've kind of gotten lazy with it, because now I'm just kind of using it as a platform to, hey, here's a slow moving break. Let me send out a 900 customer email blast about it. When in reality, the theory behind it is, I was going to do it weekly, highlight the hit of the week, kind of. I mean, now it just kind of, I think I got them from other people, from other breakers, but like it became like a spam thing. Like I wanted to limit it to one a week, like just because if you're getting them every day, you're like, screw this guy. Like I don't want,
Right.
Like I'm one of these. I try to limit my email as much as I can, just because I don't want 6,000 Liberty Mutual, spam emails a day. So yeah, I mean, it wasn't like anything I put a ton of thought into, but I wanted to have a little something like just to catch your eye, like kind of force it on you, like push. I mean, like a push notification, if you will. Like
right.
If you're going to check your email more than likely, you don't necessarily check my Twitter feed every day. So.
Right. Yeah, no, I asked because a lot of people ask me because I use the website, they're like, do you do email? Do you do this? Do you do that? I'm like, not really.
Yeah.
Not really. Well, my biggest complaint is when I had Shopify, I had all that included. Now with Squarespace, you have to pay. Like, do you know what you pay for whatever you use?
It's like $100 a year, or a little more maybe. Which is not ideal, but
it's still not the worst when you're, when it's talking about bringing you business. If it brings you business, then it's
right.
worth it.
And usually when I send it, like if it's something slow, it might just be a courtesy spot just from people that know I'm desperate, or, but like I usually within 30 minutes will get one or two spots like that of people who probably didn't see it on Twitter. Like something, okay. It's not new customers. I'm sure there's a way to like go out and get new customers. But it's like, if you've ever been to my website, like it pops up and you have to click off all that to put your email in.
Yeah, I know mine's got the same option when you check out to sign up for it. I don't know if your website does the same thing or not.
Yes, I think so.
Because I know I have a pretty substantial list of people that are subscribed to an email that I never send out.
Right.
So it's like, sorry, dudes.
It like gives you a report. Like I usually get 2 or 3 a week that have unsubscribed, but it's like people that I haven't seen in a while, and like it's like what you're talking about. You can't be everyone's cup of tea. So
no, not at all.
Like one person will break with me, like, ew, this guy making dumbass jokes the whole time, and don't have anything to do with it, and they won't break with you. So.
Yeah, I've had I know right away, almost instantly, talking to people if I'm even gonna get along with them, and even before they'll spend money with me, if I get that sort of vibe, I'm like, listen, do me a favor. Have you ever seen me break? Please watch one of my breaks. Go watch somebody else break. Listen, I said, I'm the most honest guy you're gonna come across, but if I'm not for you, I'm not for you, and I'm not gonna change. I'm not gonna change how I operate for one person.
Right.
So.
No,
and the thing is, like, the way I conduct myself, I still have like very religious people that come hang out with me, and I mean, I got a mouth. There's no doubt about it. And like, but I won't lie to you. So
they know you're real. Like,
right.
It's
like, sorry, I'm excited. You know what I mean? Excuse me for enjoying my job right now.
I tell people all the time, like, I'm not this, the jackass that's going to go crazy over a, relief pitcher base auto. That's not me. But like, hell yeah, I'm going to get excited if we hit something. Like,
yeah, right.
We hit a Bobby Witt Gold Shimmer.
I saw that. I hit one of those too.
I went nuts. Like, hey, this is a damn $20,000 card, probably. Like, let's get excited. Like,
I pulled one for Pav's buddy Roel. I pulled a Gold Shimmer, and he got a 9.5 on it, and he couldn't sell it for $4,000 when he got it. And I know he sold it now. He sold that card, right, Pav?
Oh yeah.
Oh man.
Yeah, mine is.
And you pulled a base too, yeah? You pulled two?
Speckle. Yeah.
Speckle, yeah. Yeah, he pulled two bobbies in one case.
On Monday, yeah.
That's nasty.
I hit a couple of years ago, like when we were talking about Wander earlier, when it came out. I hit a Gold Shimmer first for myself out of a hobby. Auto at Senator Beckett, which is what you did back then. That's like the grading thing's so cyclical, like where you send shit to at what time. But Senator Beckett 9.5, I think, like True Gem, 10 auto. Had it up for 4,000 for weeks, and no one would take it. And that was something, like, I was still relatively new, and I was like, yeah, I could use this money, like, to pay down the card this month.
Yeah.
But send it to an auction, and I think it ended at like $2,200. I mean, hell, that's probably close to a $50,000 card. No, I don't know, 20, 25.
If this stupid Father's Day blue card gets paid for,
that's not getting paid.
Oh, it got ended. Somebody ended. Yep. Oh my goodness, dude! This thing ended live, and we're doing a podcast on it.
Well, it's got 3 days left.
No, hang on. The sellers, eBay's pulling some shit, dude. This is the shady shit on eBay we're about to expose, and I'm not trying to expose anybody.
eBay,
but look at this.
Knew it wasn't getting paid for.
Here it is. That was at 13,625 when we started, and then it went to $20,200 earlier when we brought it up. Now the listing was ended by the seller because there was an error in the listing. Bullshit. Yeah, what happened?
They probably wanted, or they probably reached out to the person.
Yeah. What just happened to this card?
And said, hey,
Cubby 1908, bud, talk to us.
I'll take 20.
It's probably in the real friendly confines group.
Yeah, bud. I don't know what this shit is, but we want to know. We're live right now. Come join us on the show. I'll send you a link. That's fucked up. Wow, look at that. That was a talking point. That was literally on the chart for the news today, and now it's not. Because now what do we talk about? Somebody's fucking around. What's up, eBay? You gonna get your 20,000 in fees off of that? Somebody bid 20 grand. Get your money.
It's not on Peak either, so.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, you've got to. That's the thing. If you pull an auction, you've got to pay the fees. Which, if I was that person and somebody was willing to pay me $20,000 for it right now, I would gladly give eBay their cut, take the damn money, and.
If I ever sold a card for 20 grand, I'm getting on a plane and delivering it.
That was that car. I mean, we were talking about the board earlier. I didn't know what to do. I ended up sending it a PSA, like, certified the hell out of it. Form, like, we discussed. I said, look, this thing's got to get graded one way or the other. I was like, so if you come pick it up, I'll meet you at the airport. I was like, but you also need to book a next plane to Newport Beach, California. I was like, and that can get outrageous. So I ended up shipping the thing, but we'll see.
Oh, that's crazy. I can't believe that auction just ended right in front of us. It ended 12 minutes ago at 8:25.
You're supposed to end Saturday or Sunday, right?
I'm sorry, you're breaking up a little bit.
Was it supposed to end Sunday?
It was supposed to end in like 3 days and some hours, like 9 hours or something.
What do you think real value on that is? Auction house.
No idea, because this one, this one is bullshit. Now you can't even pretend that you saw 20 grand on that, because now you have no idea.
I'm watching a standard gold to see where it ends.
Number to 2022 gold.
Yeah.
So here's the thing with me and Wander. Like, he's great, obviously. Like, he had a great, I guess did he lose rookie eligibility?
Yes, he had to have.
Yeah.
It's like 180 at bat, somewhere around there.
So,
or 60 days. Yeah. So yeah, there's a service time clause too, like number of days. So yeah.
So I mean, he can't win rookie of the year next year or this year.
Right.
So I don't know, like, he's great, no doubt about it. Like, we saw enough of him, even in the playoffs. Like, the way he handled the stage, like, even say what you will, Red Sox, but playing up at Fenway is like a different animal, and like he nailed
right
one out. So anyways, let's compare him to Luis Robert, kind of the guy the year before. Wouldn't you say Robert's probably done more at the professional level? Like, he's at least played an extra year, and he hit a bunch of bombs that year. He got hurt last year. They probably played the same amount of games last year, or close.
I would say maybe now, but I wouldn't have said that last year, because Robert had a really nice 21 after he showed up.
Right, and like, Robert's in a lot bigger market,
but he absolutely disappeared in 2020 down the stretch. But that's a weird season though.
Yeah, I mean, it is. Like, you can't. I don't put much stock in it. He was in the MVP race the first 6 weeks of the season, and then he, pitchers kind of figured him out a little bit, and then he came on last year, and he was incredible until he got hurt. He wasn't hitting homers. Nobody was talking about it. He's hitting like 340 before he got hurt, but he had one homer, and then he got hurt and kind of found his power swing again and came back. I don't know. I mean,
the biggest difference between the two, and last year's numbers are very similar in at bats. Wander had 6 more at bats than Robert, but Robert, did better in everything other than runs. Even stolen bases, Robert stole more bases. But the difference is Robert's 4 years older.
Is he really?
Yeah.
He's 4 years older?
Yeah, Wander's only 20.
I didn't know he was 4 years older. All right, so it's a little different then.
So it's absolutely Wander's more like Soto, but Soto's younger than Luis Robert.
Yeah, Soto's the dumb one. Like,
it's amazing.
Confident. Yeah. So I'm looking at WAR right now. Robert had 3.6, Wander 3.5.
Right.
So, but yeah, I didn't know there was that big of an age difference. All right, so you can't compare them apples to apples, but I mean, they're similar. And like, I have some nice Robert stuff. Like, I know there's a black parallel out of Series 2. So like, number to 69, I think, or 71, whatever it is. Black on black, beautiful looking card. There's a PSA 9. I was kind of talking to a guy about for $2,500. I think he was overpriced, or for my liking at least. But either way, like, I could have had that card easy for $2,500. Probably could have had it for $2,000 if I worked the guy a little bit. But anyways, you buying a Wander Black to 71 for $2,000 as a PSA 9 right now? Hell no. Like, and I mean,
I would, only because I'm so in on the serial number thing.
I would, but I'm saying, like, you couldn't get it for that. It'd be
right.
$10,000.
Right.
So, that's. I mean, I guess I was going to try to use Robert as kind of like the comp to, hey, what will a Wander settle in at? But I mean, make it 25% higher just because of the age difference. So
yeah, there's no telling. There's just nothing.
He has to put up unreal numbers to. Like you said earlier, I think that for Wander's values, that the holdout is actually going to help maintain.
Right.
Because
it's a lockout, by the way. It is not a holdout.
Let's
get that clear. Sorry. Fuck the owners.
But
no,
like
I'm a pro-owner kind of guy. You don't.
Oh, you are?
Yeah, you don't like rich old white men, controlling how you go about your business.
Oh my gosh, I don't want to touch on social issues.
No, I'm not talking to me. Me either. I'm just saying. No, I mean, it's so funny. You see people. It's like, oh, the players are being greedy. I'm like, we're not.
Yeah.
It's not the Mike Trouts of the world that we're worried about here. It's the career minor leaguers. But yeah, sorry. Get back.
I literally invited a career minor leaguer on the show, and that was what we were talking about before we got going. He actually responded. I'm not gonna name him because I don't know him, but I sent him a message and he responded just to decline. He said his plate was full, but he posted on his Twitter today a series of tweets describing his 7 years in the minor leagues.
Oh, I saw that. Yeah, I don't remember, but yeah.
Yeah, I reached out to him. I said, dude, that's an incredible story. If you want to talk with us, I said, I'd love to have you. But he responded, and he said, no thanks. He's busy. He didn't say he didn't want to. He just said he was busy. So he does it for the love of the game, but not everybody does it for the love of the game, and the owners shouldn't expect the players to do it for the love of the game. I mean, they make so much money and do nothing. I'm sorry. I would love for any owner to send me what they do. And I don't actually want them to write down on paper. I want to watch them for a day. What are you doing today? Fucking go golfing?
Right. I mean, it's different. Yeah. Like, I mean, you've got guys that are involved, like, you know, and I can't even name baseball owners really that are involved, but like, you know, Robert Kraft, Jerry Jones come to mind. I think in the Jerry Jones situation in Dallas, like, that's hurting the Cowboys more than helping them. But, you know, like, some guys are involved. Like, I know what Jerry does. He sits in his office and watches them practice, and, you know, God knows what's going on behind those doors. So it's just him. But, yeah, I mean, like, but yeah, baseball owner, what the hell are the Ricketts doing? Or
they're trying to ruin Wrigleyville. That's what they're doing.
Yeah.
Don't get me going. Holy cow.
John Henry with the Red Sox. He's over in, you know, England hanging out at, you know,
fucking
Liverpool, whatever,
eating oysters and shit.
I saw him last year. We went up. My wife had never been to Boston, so as you can tell, I'm a Red Sox fan.
Yeah.
And we went. Yeah, we took her up, and it was the day. It was like the first weekend that they had full capacity back at Fenway, and so Friday night it was a Yankees series. I'd never been to a Red Sox Yankees game, which it's like a damn college football game, like just, you know, the atmosphere. But anyway, so like Friday night was when they were retired. I don't think they retired his number actually, but like they were doing the ceremony for Pedroia because he retired, and we saw John Henry pull up. I'm like, that looks just like the Red Sox owner. And like he was in a Porsche, and like he parallel parked his car right next to Fenway. I'm like, oh shit, that is John Henry. He gets out of the car, and he like walks up to this other guy with, you know, kind of curly hair. I was like, is that Pedro Martinez? And like, sure enough, like, you know, I was like, so that's what they do. They just yuck it up with their former players all day. And like, and he went out and gave a speech about Euclid or Pedroia, but yeah, like outside of that, I'm sure he had to fly up for that, or where, I don't know where the hell he lives, but like, yeah, what do these guys do? I mean, whatever. You should make money off of it. You owned it. It's a business that you worked your entire life to be able to afford.
Sure.
But like, not at the expense of your workers.
Yeah. And the worst is people that defend it.
I know.
It's terrible. Like, wait a second. You make what, 40 grand a year, and you're sitting here defending them?
Yeah, you make 40 grand a year. You probably work your ass off. You, I'm sure, work a hell of a lot harder than the CEO, or not necessarily the CEO, the owner of your company.
Yeah.
Do you think the owner of your company should make more than, like, you know, you make 40? How would you like to make 30 and give 10,000 more to the owner?
I mean, it comes down to ideology and the fact that, you know, it's a free market here. Because if you look at somewhere like Walmart, that family's got all the money in the world. They're so loaded beyond belief, but they keep their employees under full time on purpose so they don't have to give them benefits and shit like that. Costco makes a fuck ton of money. They pay all their employees well. Their employees all have benefits and shit like that. So it's just, if you want to be a good person, you can be a good person. But if you want to be greedy and pinch every penny, I don't understand. I've just never had that much money or even thought about having that much money. But you can't.
Try it. It's great. Yeah.
You can't take it with you, though. You know what I mean? Fuck. I'm
kidding.
I know. And I'm not saying everybody should all have the same amount of money and do the same shit. That's not at all what I'm saying. I'm just saying if you get to that level of elite financial freedom, I don't think you should be bickering about paying your fucking investments in your minor league players.
So like
they're literally your investments.
Right.
Like Those are the people that are going to put the asses in the seats in
They're
5
iron
years.
investments too, damn it. So no. So yeah, I watch the show Billions. I don't know, on
I don't watch TV at all. I really don't.
it's kind of what the hell, Showtime. So anyways,
Okay.
like it's about
Sure.
like the 1%, like the upper elite in New York, and they're kind of like, and one of the old guys was like one of the big hedge fund managers, and his whole thing was, I don't need the money. It's about the win. It's about the whatever. And that's the way it is with some of these owners. It's like, you don't need the money. They don't even care about the money. They're not going to notice the difference between 60 million and 50 million, but it's about the win to them. And it's like, I didn't get here by settling for 50 million. I got here by going for the full 60, whatever it is.
Yeah.
And I mean, I guess it's a different, but like, yeah, it's like,
I understand, but at a certain
even when you
point,
get
man.
yeah, like if you're, I don't know, like, sure, the Mike Trouts of the world and the Harpers and all the mega contract guys, they're doing fine. That's not who we're worried about here.
Yeah.
We're worried about Wander had to sign a deal to where, like,
He'll get what he deserves now.
well, I mean, when he signed it, like, everyone had a reaction about it. Like, it was
Same thing with Acuna, though, too, and Albies.
highway robbery.
Yeah.
Ozzy Albies, they must have. I don't want to know what the Braves have on him. Was it 7 years, $35 million?
It's not much. I know David Bodie got a deal that wasn't too far behind his, and Bodie ain't half the player Albies is.
Like I think Albies, is legit 7 years, $35 million.
Yeah, I think Bodie's was like 7 and 28 or something like that.
And I know second isn't the most loaded position, but he's a top 3 to 4 second baseman.
Yeah,
probably.
top tier switch hitter, all of that.
And
checks the boxes, plays defense, has wheels.
If he hits free agency, he's probably bringing home at least $15 million a year.
Without a doubt.
Yeah, and so like Wander though, even when he did it, it's like a bunch of people are like, "Man, secure your bag, whatever." But I'm sitting over there like, Wander Franco, if he pans out like he's supposed to, like the damn Father's Day blue at $20,000,
the disappearing auction.
It's like if he pans out to that, then he's gonna be making like $17.5 million a year in his prime, and Trout's making 45, and
Yeah, I don't know what the answer is, but it's wild. It's fucking wild, and it's surprising on top of that the Rays even shelled out that much money.
Oh, I know. That's what. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. It just sucks that it takes 7 years to get to where, like, Chris Bryant.
Yep. Well,
is becoming a free agent for the first time in his life. And how long have we been talking about Chris Bryant?
Yeah, right.
And it's not because, like, in basketball, you've got it to where you first 4 years, and then they've built it to where you have to be an absolute idiot to turn down the first extension. Like, I think they did something the other day where, like, no person who's ever been offered an extension on their rookie deal by their original team has ever turned it down, because it's just so stupid. Like, you lose like 90% of the money you can make.
Yeah.
So it's hard to, like, it's a totally different thing. But like with Zion, they're already talking about, before all this injury stuff, but it's like he hates being in New Orleans. Once he signs his extension, they'll have to figure out a way for him to get out. And then it's just like, well, why wouldn't he just not sign the extension? So there's an in-between that and the 7 years to get to the market.
Well, that, and then like with those deals, that's like restricted free agency. So like another team can sign you, and then your original team has the opportunity to match. Hockey has that too. I would like to see something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Thanks, Pav. I'd like to see something like that, or even like football, man. Once your contract's up, like, but the owners are never going to give up that type of control. And I understand the need for it because of the development, but I think maybe your 7 years should start when you're drafted. It shouldn't be separated between minor league and big league free agency. So, like, if you're drafted, 7 years. Develop me, get me to the show if you want me. Or don't. Especially for the college kids that come in at 23, 24.
What if the owners make that, like, the ultimatum? Say, hey, you know what? We don't need all these minor leaguers. We're just going to do away with a bunch of those teams. We're only going to keep the elite guys. We don't need these guys that are going to be around for 7 years in the minor leagues. We don't need to pay you $15,000 a year. You're right. You're right. We don't need to pay you that $15,000. You're never going to make it to the major leagues. We don't need you here.
It won't happen because they already restructured all the minor leagues. At least it's not going to happen anytime soon.
See, I disagree. I would think that if they went to it, then in reality, you've got the big names fighting for the little names. But when it comes down to it and it's time for the big names to miss out on paychecks.
Yeah, I said that. I said that in our podcast talking about things.
Then they don't. I mean, I don't know. Like, I kind of go back and forth. Like, I'm in Birmingham and we've got the Barons, the White Sox AA team. And we go to several games usually each summer. And, like, I remember a couple of years ago, I went with a buddy and some like friends of his that he went to high school with, and one of them was a girl, and she was single, and we were sitting above the bullpen, and we were like messing around with one of the pitchers and like, hey, that girl thinks you're cute, and she was a good looking girl, whatever. And so he starts like throwing up balls to her with his number on them, and I'm like, okay, like I think that might be the sign there are too many minor leaguers. Like when you're out in the I'm not saying you got to be locked in on the game at all times, but there might be a few too many minor league teams. But again, I don't want to take away from the minor league ecosystem because.
Yeah, I mean, I could see you getting rid of rookie ball and low A ball and just having single A, double A, and triple A. Yeah. But I think they took the time to make those, and they already consolidated some. I don't see why they'd get rid of it. I'm not saying it couldn't happen, but I think now is just a strange time considering how they just reformatted everything.
Yeah.
I don't know what the hell's going on with the lockout, though. Holy cow. Every time I think something good's happening, something else bad comes out. So.
Well, Clownford got on TV last week and told everybody it was going to be okay, and then the
right.
union was insulted by what they got, so.
We lost Pav. We're good, though. He'll be back. Yeah, Manfred. Ooh.
Clownford.
Oh, yeah. Absolutely. Extra big red nose, though. Just the biggest red nose you could, like, take my pop filter off my mic. Manfred. That's it.
That was actually pretty impressive, yeah.
Just a big old unit.
I didn't know that I had hopped on a podcast with Carrot Top tonight, just props at your disposal.
Whatever it takes, whatever it takes, bud. Oh, shit. So, did you hear about Nat Turner getting his card stolen? Did you hear about that? So, here's the interesting thing. I don't know Nat Turner, obviously. I know people that know Nat Turner. Nat Turner owns the Mets and PSA, right? Something like that.
Mets. Steve Cohen owns the Mets.
Steve Cohen.
I don't know who it is either, but that's who owns the Mets.
Right, but he's in cahoots with Nat Turner, right? Okay. Those two are connected, I think. And now I gotta look.
I'll take your word for it.
If this is wrong, I gotta get rid of it.
Steve Cohen, he was in the National Guard.
Yeah, no. Here we go. It popped up. Yeah. They bought PSA together.
Steve Cohen is in on PSA. I did not know that.
Yeah. That was a big stink last summer. That was a big deal. So anyway, that's just a preface to what I'm gonna complain about. Is old Nat Turner, who is in bed with PSA, had $1 million worth of cards, graded cards, stolen out of his rental car somewhere at an airport. Long story short, that's the headline, of course, and he posted it on his Instagram. But they recovered them. The cops found them. Some rare Kevin Garnett green card is in there.
Wow, precious metal gems, probably, yeah.
Yeah, $500,000. But I assume it was graded by PSA. I assume he gets to go to the front of the line with his cards. What? I'm really not trying to stir the pot, but what? Why is he allowed to do that? And
they'll probably tell you he's not.
Right. Just like Golden Auctions is in bed with PSA.
Right.
And they'll tell you the same shit. They tried to tell one of our friends, and I'm not going to name him, who specifically wanted to send his card to Beckett to get graded. They strongly advised him to send the PSA, while eventually just letting him do what he wants and sent it to Beckett. But this shit like that, man. The dude gets all his cards stolen, blah blah blah, but he gets them back, so I don't feel bad. What are you doing leaving $1 million worth of cards in a car? That just shows you how fucking rich you are. I mean, seriously. If there's no way. I don't even have a case. I don't even want to say a number on what I think my collection's worth, but if I had the best of my collection in one case, there's no way I would not be walking around without it and a gun on me at all times.
Yeah, mine are here, and yeah, I'm always here. Or
yeah, I have some of my really nice stuff, which is still nothing crazy.
Oh yeah, mine is
but I still have some of my nice stuff split up and not even all here. It's not even all here.
Yeah, mine's not all. I mean, again, I don't have anything.
Right. But for a guy to just be like, oh, I'm just going to leave $1 million worth of cards in a car because I got to go to the front of the PSA log and fucking get my cards graded before everybody else. And now I got all 10s because I own the company. You know, PSA has enough questionable 10s out there.
Yeah.
I just don't like it. But that's the hobby we're living in.
Right.
You know, hey, who's got the most money? We own you. Now we can do whatever we want, but we say we don't know what you're talking about, and it's ignorant. So
yeah, I mean, it's all
claim ignorance.
Like you said, who's got the most money?
Yeah. They said the golden PSA thing is like, well, they don't know that it's a card going to golden auction when we send it to them. Like, okay, yeah, put your fucking Morse code sign on the back, let it rip. Well, but I'm not very conspiratorial. That's just like blatantly obvious, rub your nose in it type of stuff that you see.
It's like you have to know because you have to know. Like, you can't tell me these graders aren't on Instagram or Twitter or whatever. It's like
they're all flexing on Instagram. All these big shots.
Yeah, they're not jury members. Like, you know, they're not like they can't have to recluse themselves from the situation. So it's like, hey, if I pull I don't know. Say I pull the 1/1 Platinum Wander out of personal box of Series 1. Yeah, I'm going to send it to PSA because I want to maximize my return on it. And if I post it on Twitter, like, because I would, obviously, hey, holy shit, look what I just pulled. I would post it. Say I'm friends with the PSA grader. Like, he would be grading the car and it would come through like, oh shit, that's Blake's. Obviously, because it's the 1/1 Wander. That's my boy. Let me hook him up. Like, It's not, I'm sure like Nat Turner probably doesn't deal in Luis Robert First Bowman Chromes like I do. He's probably over there dealing with Mickey Mantle rookies. And if he's the CEO of the company, he's probably walking around being like, hey, I got a nice Mickey Mantle coming in, probably pretty excited about it, like he should be. And it's just one of those like, oh, this is Boss Man's car, and you got to make, I don't know, like, but they can't. It's not like they're recluse from the outside world. Like, they know what's going on, and it's a rare, probably instance where you run into guys whose cards whose it is, but it's too subjective.
It's just too fucking easy to be able to make that play into your favor if you really wanted to. To where that you say I have no idea. It's just. Like, oh, they don't know that that's my card coming through there. Like, it's just not believable.
Right.
It's tough because in the hobby, we need those guys. Because I'm not buying any $1 million cards.
But you're not creating any $1 million cards either with rare green garnets that are getting graded by your company.
It doesn't. You need those guys. Without, like, if you pulled the Wander 1/1 and you didn't have those people out there to buy that card, the market for it would slip and it'd come down.
But I don't think those guys are buying that card. I mean, you've got to have guys to buy it, obviously, but those guys are buying cards that aren't being made. Like, I got to imagine Nat Turner's collection doesn't have any, like, it's not modern. It's probably all vintage. Or it's probably, which, I mean, there's got to be someone, I get what you're saying. Like, there's got to be someone out there that is willing to buy it, or the market's not where it is. But
It's the same guys. There's the guy that's buying the $4 million card is buying the $1 million card. That's who's making the play. It's not somebody that's saying, hey, this stuff is modern, so that's what I'm. No, they're buying this stuff as straight investment. Anybody that's spending that kind of money, it's 100% investment money, and they're using it as such. So again, you need those guys to create the market that we're all enjoying. If we didn't have those guys, it'd be really tough. The values of stuff would be a lot less. It's just like with Bitcoin or anything like that, where you have values that are based on hype, right? So if there wasn't somebody out there to buy Bitcoin at 36,000, it would still be worth, fucking pennies or whatever. So it really takes those guys in the market. Even though we can hate them all we want, we need those guys to enjoy our part of the market as well. So I think it's a big time catch-22 for us.
Yeah, I mean, that's what you're saying. I mean, I agree. Like, you've got to have investors, you got to have buyers. But I mean, I think if it's being done shady, kind of like what Brad's talking about with he's making, not making his own stuff, but like he's pulling it and then grading it in house. Maybe it's not. Maybe he bought it from someone else. But yeah, I mean, there's got to be buyers, and I don't know any of them.
No.
I thought I might run. I mean, you see some of that kind of stuff at National, but it's, I don't know. It's a whole different ecosystem, that's for sure.
It's tough because it becomes like the art market, right?
Yep.
So like when you see a story about some 12-year-old girl who sold a painting for $350,000 to her parents' friend. So
Right.
then all of a sudden she becomes a sought after artist amongst these rich motherfuckers that got the money to spend. But it took that initial friend who was a millionaire or whatever to say, hey, I like that painting. I'll give you $300, because she didn't have any clientele before that, right? So she was just out there fucking painting paintings. It cost her $10 to make. So all of a sudden, you have this established value because somebody bought it that came out and had the money to do that. So like without those people to establish the value for the high end cards, it's just like when Brad, I mean, you pulled some big cards recently. You pulled something that was over like $3,000.
That was
the Wander,
Brad
right?
Wander from Bowman's Best.
Right. You pulled that for somebody in your break that bought a spot in your break, and they immediately sold the card. So that person in your break wasn't a buyer for that card. They're a seller. So if we were all sellers, then all that stuff wouldn't be worth shit. So we do need, and there's with grading, because it's obviously subjective as fuck.
Right.
So like with the grading, it being like art, all of it is subjective. So like Brad said, his big thing is chasing the parallels. That's a great road to go down, because there is a finite number of these parallels. Whereas with PSA 10s or any of that, we don't know. There's no established number at the beginning. So right. I mean, and even with like the big cards, I don't see it being like it's not a huge issue for me personally, because I'm not in that game. I can't get into that game. I don't have the money to be in that game. The only person that really fucking has a care for that is somebody else that's trying to get into that game that has a lot of money, right? And I don't see any of those people chasing down Nat Turner. I see a lot of small people that want to get at him, but at the end of the day, I really feel like with the Fanatics, move, and with Nat Turner's moves and PSA getting card ladder stuff like that, I think it's actually going to be all really good for the hobby for long-term values. And I think that's something that we haven't seen in the hobby like for the last 20 years before we saw this big spike. So we saw a hobby that was really destroyed in terms of values. So I think with these guys, it's like certain countries in the world. I don't want to name any names, but sometimes a dictator is good for certain countries. They need someone to keep them in line. And like for the hobby, because of the way that the hobby got before, right? It got where it was the Wild West, and they were just printing shit like crazy in that. I think actuality is that these guys, they're the guys that are getting into this, Nat Turner, and I always forget the guy's name that's involved with buying with Fanatics and that.
Luber?
Yeah. So like those guys have
Ruben.
Right.
You talking about Ruben, the Fanatics guy, or Luber,
Right.
the StockX dude?
Ruben. So like those guys have good business minds. So I think it's going to be really imperative for long term. So if we want this hobby to continue down the road that we see it going down right now, I think it's important to get guys like that into those power positions and really steer the ship, because I could see the ship really getting off course pretty quickly with the way things were going.
Welcome to the underground runaround, where this ship just went way the fuck off course. But you did circle back, because I was so lost for a minute. I'm like, what does this have to do with fucking
it's everything, you know.
Nat Turner, Nat Turner. Then you brought it back. I'm like, whoa,
It was impressive.
it's the runaround, baby. Welcome to the show, friends. If you haven't tuned in, you need to tune in, because we get to the points.
Yeah.
We build stories. We tell stories. It happens here, folks. Yeah, I agree with a lot of what you said, but I'm still gonna talk my shit and just.
You can't. That's the beauty of living in a free nation.
I'm not even talking shit. I'm just asking, really.
No,
but I ask aggressively.
One good thing about not having dictators, we don't need them. But
Yeah. Whoa, with the dictators, dude. Easy.
Dude,
Hey, speaking. Hang on.
Yeah.
I got to do this. Speaking of dictators, right? Just keep that in mind. I was on Twitter yesterday, and Manscaped, of all companies, was asking for podcasts you love so we can sponsor them. So I just wanted to put our name into the hat here with the old underground runaround.
Dude, I need the Manscaped as it is. So they're like,
I mean, look at the hair here. Look at the hair on Blake. He's just a guest, but we can Manscape him up too. I love it.
Right.
I love it. I just wanted to put in a little clip there just so I can tag him on Twitter with it, because they did like my tweet. I'm like, listen, we only got about 10 episodes so far, but we're hitting these charts and these numbers aren't bullshit. So Manscaped, if you check this out, just talk to us, because I don't know how any of this works. I'm not going to lie to you. We're 100% independent.
He would not even know how to buy listeners. So
yeah. Yeah, no shit.
I think I just informed you that that's a thing you can do. So.
You can buy listeners?
I think.
Is that what you said?
Yeah, you can buy everything else. Why not?
That's crazy. I never even thought about that. I didn't even know that they really tracked like podcasts by downloads until after we put it on the audio formats, because up until just a little over a month ago, we were only on YouTube, because everything I was reading about the audio, you get X amount of time a month depending on how much you pay for, because you have to pay a website to host the audio file, and then the audio file links to like Apple and Spotify and wherever you want to link it to. But you can't actually just give Spotify your podcast. They're like, we're not going to hold that audio file in our servers. No, you got to have somebody else pimp it for us, basically. And so I was reading. I'm like, well, I want to make sure I have a month's worth of content before we upload it. And then when I did that, they're like, oh, you've used up your entire month. Like, you don't get any more time until next month, or you got to pay extra for every additional upload. They like charge you by the hour, which, I mean, it makes sense.
Yeah,
I didn't know this is all stuff I had to learn, you know what I mean, trying to put this all together. But you don't learn unless you just fucking jump in and do it. So I should have just jumped in and done it and been on audio from the start. But the big measure for the podcast on audios is how many downloads you get. Like, it shows you streams on the specific ones, but like the host that hosts our audio, they only give us download data. And then they like tell you how many downloads they think your next episode will get based on your other data. But like Spotify and Apple have their own different little metrics they use, and then these charts. I'm so into these numbers, man. None of them make sense, and I don't really know what to make of them. But they're going in the right direction. 10 episodes, we're doing this, baby. Let's go, Manscaped. I need to do something with my pubes. You know what I mean? You just tell them straight up. But that's it for dictatorship. That's all the dictatorship I want to do on this episode, Pav, because it's I like my freedom. How about that?
Big fan.
I'm a big pro freedom guy, and that is anything. If you want to do whatever you want to do, I don't care. Do it. You're free. That's what this country's for. I was talking to my wife, not to get way out of left field. I was talking to my wife last night about
Me too.
just generally how how come so many people hate this place that live here. Like, well, they didn't have to go through absolute fucking hell to get here, to get an opportunity. Like, you're just here with an opportunity, but you never knew hardship. So, like, all those people that came help with the nation, that went through all the hardship they had to go through to get here and then carve out a living for themselves in what you would consider the American dream. These kids nowadays, and my age group included, they don't know what that hardship is. I'm like, I just don't understand how you can't be motivated. Like, why you would just rather sit on the computer and bitch all day about why this isn't good, or why you deserve to have this for free. Like, I don't know where this entitlement
Or
shit
just
is.
deserve
Like,
any of, I'm with you.
go grind away. It doesn't have to be physical labor, but go work until you can't see straight anymore. Get your 4 hours of sleep like most highly functioning, productive people do. And I'm not saying that's a healthy thing to do forever, but you got to put the effort in. You got to struggle. It builds character. I'll never be convinced otherwise.
Yeah, agreed.
Like, you can't just sit there and expect everything to just come your way. You can't do the bare minimum. Like, people would consider a 40-hour work week full time. I'm sorry, that's part time. It's the bare minimum.
I think that's part of our major mental health issues. It's like people don't have they wake up in the morning and they don't have they can't see reason to get out of bed. They don't have that need to go out and kill some animals to eat dinner that night.
Well, we don't.
Everything's so fucking easy now.
Convenience is dangerous. That's why I hate DoorDash and Uber Eats and all. Like, you're so lazy. You can't wait. I'm sorry. If Taco Bell's right down the road and you call the fucking DoorDash to bring you your Taco Bell and you're not drunk, there's a gigantic problem.
That's a little,
It's ridiculous. To pay 4 times as much for fast food and then get it cold delivered at your doorstep because you're that fucking lazy that you can't get in your car, get off your fat ass, or hop on a bike and ride down to the fast food joint, or just try this other crazy thing out where you go into your kitchen area where there's usually this big rectangle that if you put food on it and turn it on, it'll cook it for you. Like, you got microwave, stove tops. The rectangle is endless. You could have whatever you want, but convenience is not good. We're running way around now, baby. I love it. But convenience is dangerous, man. It's like, oh my God, my app doesn't work. I can't get a taxi cab, or whatever the situation may be. What do you mean the delivery guys, the pizza joint ain't delivering today? How am I going to eat? What do you mean? What do you mean, how are you going to eat? You go put some fucking food in your mouth. It looks like you're doing okay. Come on. I'm not shaming you. I'm just saying. Come on. That's a touchy subject for me. I don't know. I'm a caveman though. Like, I'm not afraid. I'm just not afraid to say that, because if I get a challenge and I complete it, I want a harder challenge. So I've done a million different things in my life. Once I get to the point where I'm bored, I want to do something different. So now we're doing a podcast, and it's doing well too. But I have a blast with this. I have a blast with cards. I've done cards longer than I've done most things in my life.
It's
Period.
fun. I mean, it's just
There's so much different stuff to do.
it really is. Like it's not
If
your average 9 to 5.
if you get bored doing one thing, there's another avenue to try and do something else. And they're pretty endless, especially with NFTs and stuff. And I don't even have the time to get too invested into that.
No.
But we've talked about them, and I mean, I see all sides of it. I see the good and the bad, and the likes and the dislikes. I can understand why they have the appeal that they do, and a lot of people actually liked the last episode we had with Brozati on here talking about him, because he's into him. I'm on the fence. I've dabbled in some of the stuff, but I'm not a big time person on them. But they're cool. I mean, if you have the time and you understand, I think you need a crypto background, though, honestly.
Yeah, I think you gotta know the ins and outs, and yeah.
But again, I think you gotta know rich fucking people. You look at like the stupid fucking ape NFTs. The reason those are worth a bunch of money is because a bunch of rich celebrities fucking bought them. So like, it's probably some guy. The guy that made those was probably living in some celebrity's freaking basement, and he made those, and he was like, "Hey man, tell your buddies about these." So then they all bought his. It's it kills me, but it's like it's all hype based, so it's really hard to be analytical and be able to find the values in those things.
Yeah, it's all about who you know.
Blake, what's your favorite thing about breaking?
Ooh, is it cliche if you say pulling stuff for other people?
No, not at all. That's actually the right answer.
Yeah, I mean it is. It's like I got into this. Like there are people that break because they saw an opportunity in this, that, and the other. I do it because I was in breaks and thought, hey, I've heard you tell the stories. Like, hey, I can do this better than they can do it. Like, yeah, I saw people doing it. I'm like, why am I not doing this? I have all the means and the ideologies behind it. And then, like I still open stuff for myself and you get fired up. But like, you hit something big for someone else, it's almost as big of a thrill as it is pulling yourself. And you still get, and you're not having to spend the money and take the risk yourself necessarily. Which, I still do. Like, I get in your breaks all the time.
Yeah.
Like I'm in all over the place. Like it really is. It's a community too. Like
right.
We met up at National for like 5 minutes, and it was like I'd seen a lifelong friend. It's I ran into so many people up there that I've only interacted with on the internet, and it's just like, hey man, what's up? Like, one guy, Lee Anderson, we kind of ran into up there, and we ended up like going to a baseball game. Like spent 2 days with him.
I know, I was pissed about that. I wanted to go to the game.
Yeah, I told you to come on. And it was just like, you see these people and you feel like you've known them forever, and it's because you kind of share a common bond. But at the same time, it's like, I love baseball cards. I love, doing all this, but it's not my whole world. But like it's a common ground. It's a leveling thing to, a starting point, if you will. And it's,
so many people don't know about it, that when you meet people that do know about it, and you don't have to explain the bare ass basics to people. When you talk to somebody and you say the word sports cards and they don't come back with, my uncle's got a attic full of, or a basement full of, or a closet full of cards from 1980 to 1993. If you don't have to have that conversation with people, then you're in a good place.
Now it's like, like now, like I do it full time. People be like we were at a furniture store the other day. We were buying a table for the kitchen, and the wife, or my wife was there, and she's like, so what do y'all do for a living? And my wife's like, I'm in finance. And she's like, what about you? And she loves it. She's like, oh, he does baseball cards. And she's like, huh? And I was like, yeah. And like, it's like, you like make them? I'm like, no, I like sell them. And you break, open them. She's like, that is so cool. And that has kind of become one of the, it's either, wait, what? Or, oh, well, my uncle has, a 94 Fleer set.
Yeah.
Or, and then, or it's, that is so cool. I didn't know you could do that for a living. Like, yeah, kind of.
Yeah. I'm figuring it out, you know.
Not illustrious, but you can do it. It's fun.
Right. I'm not getting rich. And I had a good year last year, and I had a negative month. I'm not afraid to say it. I had a bad month. But at the same time, I bought a mattress right before Christmas. And that was the first time I ever had to. I financed a mattress simply because it was 0%.
Free money, yeah.
And I wasn't going to, because I've turned into, especially since I started the business with cash too. If I don't have the cash, I don't need to do it. But I really needed a bed. I never bought a bed as an adult, and I'm 31. So I bought a Tempur-Pedic bed, and I did the financing. And that they're at, you know, what do you do? Like, do you have a pay stub or anything like that? I'm like, no. I said I own my own business, and the 2021 year was the first time I didn't have a pay stub from any company, because 2020 I did work for a company until June, and they asked me to give them a few. They asked for a couple pieces of financial information, you know, and I sent it to them, and they ran my shit and came back, and they go, cards must be very good for you. Like, I mean, I'm like, I buy my own health insurance is how I answered. I'm like, I'm not rich, like, but you know, I pay entirely too much money for terrible health insurance, if that helps. And she's like, yeah. She goes, right now, Synchrony. I don't even know if I should be saying this. That was the bank that did
who does the PayPal. Yeah.
And she's like, they don't give anybody this much money, and it was way more than my mattress. I'm like, oh well, I mean, I have good credit, like, but I don't use it. I don't.
Yeah, see, I don't. My wife is like, you know, big, and then like we moved end of last year, so I quit whatever, went full time in middle October. I was working from home with Merrill,
right,
Bank of America, and I kind of, you know, I told people that I work with this. Like, I got to the point where I was kind of half-assing both things, and it's like, you know, you talk about the nature of convenience. It was a convenience thing. I was at home. I was like, I can do both. And then it's just like, no, you know, the whole Ron Swanson thing. Don't half-ass two things, whole-ass one thing. It's like I was half-assing both, and I was catching, like, nothing major, but I was catching little things back and like on each side of things where I was kind of screwing up. And so I finally just sat down and told my wife, I was like, I got to commit one way or the other. And, you know, Bank of America hasn't really rewarded my progression and commitment, but this thing I'm building for myself, the possibilities are kind of limitless. And so we did. But yeah, you know, to the whole, we were buying a house, or she was wanting to move before the kid came, and I was like, now's probably not the best time. And she's like, now's the only time if you're wanting to finance, because we've got income that we can prove. You know, I don't know what kind of loan we're going to get with a, you know, business that you don't, you know, because, like, you know, how much can you show for your making from baseball cards and that kind of thing. So we went ahead and did it, you know, before, I guess I actually technically quit, but, you know, we were kind of in the process. So yeah, like outside of that, you know, the health insurance, but, you know, other than that, it's, you know, it's just a normal thing.
Yeah, it's pretty normal, but just like you said, man, I don't think I was half-assing anything.
Right.
As far as like the work, I was just literally burning the candle at both ends, and I was tired of sleeping 4 hours a night.
Right.
I really was. It was to the point where I'm like, fine, you win. Like, Indiana is a illegal state for marijuana, and I smoked weed a lot as a teenager, and like even in college, while I played baseball in college, I smoked weed, and it never affected anything. I was a very good athlete. You could look it up. I had a lot of success, but I quit smoking weed when I got into the Boilermakers, because the apprenticeship program, the way it worked, if you failed a test,
I'm sure, yeah,
they didn't kick you out if you were off your probation, but you only got 3 strikes for any type of discipline for the whole 4-year apprenticeship. Literally 3 strikes and you're out. And if you're in your probation, which was your first year, or 2,000 hours on the job, you were out for anything. So I'm like, fuck it. This is my career. I've already quit 3 different colleges and medically retired from baseball. I don't know what the hell I'm doing with my life. Let's do this. So I quit smoking weed because Indiana's like up to 10 years for one joint. It's crazy laws up here. And I quit, blah, blah, blah. So now I'm 4 or 5 years deep into the trades. I'm working hundreds of hours, like 80 to 100 hours a week, dying, doing the cards, losing my mind, not getting any sleep. I'm like, something's got to give. And I put too much time into this.
Yeah.
I ended the job with my buddy. I said, Bob, I said, I need a joint, bud. Make it happen. So I got to fucking relax because I'm so wound up right now. This is unbelievable. I was wound up so tight. And I everywhere I went, I looked mad. I couldn't keep my eyes open. And I'm like, and then in the back of my head the whole time, I'm going, my wife doesn't want me to do this. I'm going to have to give up my business. I'm going to have to sell my distribution accounts. Like, I'm going to have to just walk away from this and not tell anybody. Because I always told people if I stop doing it, I'm just disappearing. There's not going to be no sorry, no thanks, no see you later. None of that, because that's not what... I don't want people to feel sorry for me if I ever have to stop. So, like, fuck it. This is what's going to happen. And then I knew she didn't want me to. And I'm like, fuck it. I put way too much into this.
Yeah.
I sacrificed way too much. And I'm actually starting to make some money from it. I said, I'm going all in.
Yeah. That's kind of, I mean, fortunately, my wife does pretty well at her job too. So it's like, we know what I can do.
What you need to do.
Yeah. I was like, look, we've got a little window because we're having our first kid in April. It's like,
right.
A little window. Let me do it. And if I suck at it and if I can't do it full time, if I can't manage, then I can go back and get a job before the kid comes and we won't have, but I was like, but don't let me try, give me the opportunity to fail if it is going to come to that.
Yeah.
Which neither of us really thought it would, just because, I was doing good part time.
Right.
Even though it was really full time. It's kind of like I wasn't doing the hours you are. But I mean, and it wasn't fair to my like the people I worked with at Bank of America and Merrill Lynch, because like I'll be the first to say it's like, and there were times where like I prioritized the card stuff over, my job. And I shouldn't have done that. Like I never it should, like, that was always supposed to be the side gig. And then like when I kind of subconsciously caught myself doing that,
right.
I'm like, all right, I got to pick one. I can't. It's
not
fair for the people. Hell, I could have probably, as long as the whole work from home thing was going on, I could have done it for however long and never really gotten ahead either or. And just kind of stay stagnant and been done the safe route and, taking the insurance and all that. But I was like, nah, you got to go for it. So.
Yep. No, I get it, dude. And that's why I wanted to say it too, is my wife wasn't really on board, and my wife's a stay-at-home mom, and she wanted the sure and steady thing because I was good at the trades, but you have to work a lot. You have to. And then just didn't want to be fucking beaten to death by 50 from doing all that work. It's not an office job.
No.
So I actually really enjoyed the work. I hated all the politics involved with it, but that's everything. The work I didn't mind, the guys I didn't mind. I actually love being around the guys and talking shit. There's no place on earth other than in a nasty steel mill can you say some of the things that I've said to other grown men and not fought about it and laughed.
Right. Yeah. You got to do something to get through the day, yeah.
But Blake, dude, I know you got some things to do, buddy, and I'm not gonna keep you here all night.
No, but I appreciate you having me on. We'll do it again.
Yeah, anytime, man. Anytime, because we didn't really we just ran around. That's what we do here.
This is. It's the underground runaround.
That's what we do. So anybody listening at home, you guys follow us on Twitter, especially with Blake. He's on Twitter. I'm on Twitter. Deep Fried Blake, Deep Fried Breaks, deepfriedbreaks.com, Facebook, Twitter, everywhere you consume your deep fried items. eBay, Deep Fried Breaks. He's everywhere, friends. So if you don't know Blake, he's a really good dude, and I'm glad to be his friend. And I'm glad he came on the show. Go Irish.
No. Roll Tide.
Roll Tide, he says. All right, brother. You have a good night, man.
I've enjoyed it.
Yes, sir.
Take it easy, buddy.
Yeah.
All right, friends. That was Blake from Deep Fried Breaks. He's got a pregnant wife, and he's got some things to do. So Pav and I will finish wrapping this thing up. Everything else I really wanted to talk about on the show as far as the hobby goes, we've already touched on. I wanted to talk about the email campaigns with Blake because he does business a little differently than I do. So I wanted to give the listeners marketing lesson, not a lesson, but just explain, we do marketing different ways. So that could help the hobby. That could help other people listening, other people in business listening. I'm okay with that. Just don't be a stranger. Say hi. We did the Manscaped bullshit. I don't even know what time. I didn't write down the timestamp for that. My little pitch to Manscaped. What's up, guys? We talked about Nat Turner and his cards. The powder blue Wander is the weirdest thing that happened. That was that was at $13,625 when we started recording the podcast. Pav jumped the gun on the story and told us that it shot up to $20,000 on the bid. I think I threw that on the screen. Did I throw that on the screen when it shot up?
Yeah.
And then,
I think so.
Then the last time we checked it, it magically ended because there was an error in the listing, which is bullshit. What do you mean there's an error in the listing? So shout out to Cubby 1908 on eBay. We just put you on blast, bud. Only because we don't know. If you know what's going on, just, let us know. If somebody brings it to your attention. Those assholes on the underground runaround are slandering you everywhere. No, we're not. We're just very interested because this all happened right before our eyes. And then Series 1, we didn't really even talk about Series 1. We talked about the knockoff downtown cards, which Blake has dubbed uptown cards. And what are those actually called? I don't know. I pulled 2 of them today.
Home field advantage.
Home field advantage. Good job, Pav. Good job, buddy. What do you got, man? You got anything else you want to talk about today?
Dude, the market is I don't know how much you've been watching, what you're investing in or anything, but obviously I'm always watching the Soto stuff, and the market is softening a little bit. So I think the lockout is starting to take effect on the card market.
I think missing the spring training is a huge thing because, like Blake said, Manfred was on TV, Clownfred absolutely was on TV saying everything was going to be okay, and we think everything's going to be good to go. And then the next proposal they sent out is just a joke. So, we're at the point now where in another week or 2. I'll be nervous. When they're supposed to start playing spring training games, when that rolls around, when March gets ramped up, I'll get real nervous. Because I think if you can get it done by the first week of March, I don't think the season has to delay any. You're just not going to get as many at-bats. But I know that those guys are going to want some at-bats, but I think a lot of guys would be keeping themselves in shape, I would hope, being professionals. And it's such a long season. I don't think too much will suffer from not having a month and a half to get ready. I don't know what you need a month and a half to get ready for in baseball anyway, to be honest. I know it's to get a look at a lot of people. Spring training guys aren't taking 4 at bats. They're not playing the whole games and things like that. But I don't know. I don't think they need as much time as they get.
Yeah,
but
Ryan Zimmerman retired.
He did. Shout out to Ryan Zimmerman. He was the last draft pick by the Expos, right? Or no, he was the first draft choice by the Nationals. Sorry, I misspoke. So he's the first guy the Nationals ever drafted, and that's something you don't see in sports anymore. To see the team that drafted you, play for them your whole career. It's such a rare thing anymore. And he's done. So we wish Zimmerman the best in his retirement. Johnny Lester retired. I'm sure we already talked about that. Yeah. Couldn't handle being on the Cardinals. I get it.
Did you see the reports of the Juan Soto extension?
I did. What was that, 330? 330 for 13 years? Or was it 350?
350.
I think it was. I think you're right. 350 million for 13 years. He turned it down.
Yeah, that's. I mean, he is a Boris client, so
yeah,
he'll go to free agency. But it's pretty crazy because like with the stories I've been seeing on like Chris Bryant is that they expect him to make somewhere between 18 and 22 a year on his free agent contract.
Yeah.
So it'd be pretty interesting I'd imagine he'd probably had some offers that were a bit more than that before, like earlier in his career.
Right.
You just with the rookie, with the length of the rookie contract, man. It pushes so many of these guys through their prime years, and then
And then
you're
you're
fucking
paying them
30.
for what they did and not what they're going to do. And I don't
Yeah,
understand why the owners don't want to change that either. Like, I get the whole control thing, but at the same time, plenty of teams overpay for free agents all the time. That they wouldn't need to necessarily do that if they got a restructure, a happy medium for a restructure in terms of service time. Because then you could say, hey, well, now the free agency contracts aren't going to be crazy. Like, we're going to pay you, or they're going to stay where they're at, but now you're going to sign those guys at a younger age where they're maybe 25, 26 instead of, or 26, 27 instead of 29, 30, 31. Soto's going to be one of the youngest free agents ever, and he'll be 26, I think, when he hits free agency.
it's pretty interesting. Like you were talking earlier about how like the NFL does it and the NBA and stuff like
The
that.
NBA and the NHL do it the best with the in my opinion, with the restricted free agency. So basically, if the team drafted you is done with you, if they're not happy with you, they don't have to sign you. And if they love you and another team loves you and signs you, they have the opportunity to match whatever the other team's willing to pay you. I think that's a good balance for ownership and players getting their fair share.
It's tough. Baseball is like it's kind of like a little tough in that situation, just because the ability of the players to play longer periods of time at an elite level. So I think like when you talk about basketball and stuff like that, you have whereas hockey, a lot of those guys they do play a long time at elite level. The good players, but like when you talk about basketball and stuff, a lot of those guys are retiring so young that the window's so small on like their prime seasons. It's pretty interesting how some of these teams are kind of working around that and signing short, really expensive deals. And they just kind of get these guys at their elite years, but at the same time they get paid during their elite years because of it.
Yeah, right. Absolutely. There's I just looking around on Twitter, I saw a black parallel wander pop up and another blue popped up on Facebook.
I see a black that sold on eBay for 1,000. I don't know.
Everyone is dogging that auction. Everywhere I've seen it, they keep posting the pictures of it, and then everybody's like, "Oh, they canceled it because they knew the shill wasn't going to get paid for." All of that shit. It's getting wild. It's getting wild, but that's really all we've had to talk about for a month now. It's just wander, wander, wander. That's it for baseball until we get some real baseball and we get these pros back on the field, the top dogs. A healthy Trout. I'm looking so forward to seeing what Rendon, Trout, and Otani can do together. With whatever additions they finalize as the season.
Are
That's
they
the
going
other
to have
thing.
enough pitching?
When they get the lockout sorted out, there's still free agents on the table.
A lot.
There's still teams that got to put rosters together. So Chris Bryant's still a free agent. Rizzo, I mean, for us Cubs fans, there's still that hope. That's a divisive topic though too. I would love to have Rizzo back if you could get him for 17 or less.
Rizzo, you probably can.
And I think you can.
Just because he's at that age now where
and
he's got only a couple more good years.
And the leadership is you can't put I don't think you can put a price tag on veteran leadership in any sport, in any clubhouse. I don't know what type of leadership he provides, but he was the leader of the team when we won, so he's obviously doing something right. Plus, anybody who can stand up on that tarp and make a catch like that's cool in my book. Anyway.
Right. I think he has a good relationship with David Ross, so that kind of plays a big part there. I think it's kind of funny that the Cubs came out and kind of put the notion out there that they have a contract on the table for him when the lockout ends. but it makes me feel like it's probably not for a very high number. I would
Yeah.
probably think like 14 to 15 million a
So
year.
that's what they all said they wanted, or that's what some of the players said when they were discussing the contracts. It's like they were expected to take hometown discounts after they won the World Series. Like expected was the word that got thrown around. So that's an off-putting word, expected. It's one thing to ask, like, hey, would you be willing, like, this is what we have to spend, this is what we'd like to target. Would you be willing to help us out, make that happen by accepting a number maybe a little bit less than what the open market would give you? Not just say, hey, this is our proposal to you. And they
It's going to be tough because I think some of those guys were probably worth more money before than they are now. So like I
absolutely.
imagine maybe some of those contracts would look good to them now. But I think that they don't want to get caught in another like Jason Hayward contract, especially while they're still paying him.
Yeah.
It's just tough for them because
It's only 2 more years for
like
Haywood, I think.
yeah, yeah. It's tough, dude, because I mean, when you think about that kind of money, you can get 2 really good quality players for $10 million a year, and when you're paying Hayward $20 million a year to be, a below average hitter and an elite fielder,
Yeah,
it's really
you're
tough.
paying for a glove, right? Nobody pays for gloves.
Yeah.
Well, shit, dude. You got anything else?
No, I would say this is all I got is
All right.
um, I am selling Wander right now. If you guys hit them, sell them,
I think everybody is.
and then I buy them a
See
few
where it
months
levels
into the
out.
season.
See if it levels out, or just because we all know that out of the gate it's going to be here, and then it's going to slowly decline. Once you see it level out, if you want to be a player, buy it then.
Yeah.
If not, just watch it because it does sometimes, and not all times, but sometimes once it goes down and levels out, sometimes it spikes back up, especially if we start playing baseball and he starts performing. Because it might lull quicker than usual because people might get soured with with everything that's going on. So there might be a really good opportunity to buy Series 1 Wander stuff, and not just base cards, the good stuff. Not the snakes and sparklers. That's what I will refer to the base cards as. The snakes and sparklers. But the fucking whistling kitty chasers, there's going to be some time to buy those. I mean, I don't know how many Joe Dirt references I can get into this buy Wander segment, but I'm going to do my best. So there could be a really strong opportunity to buy. I just, as you say, I don't believe it's right now. Right now, it's a week or two is definitely sell. And if you're curious, just track prices.
Yeah, I think for anybody that's rather new to the hobby, as Brad will attest to, as more releases hit the market and more cards hit the market, you will see the numbers from the older releases come down as the new ones pop up.
And
So
some get forgotten about altogether.
yeah,
Even
I think
licensed products.
I think it's a huge opportunity for like the parallels because they're so high right now. I think as the new releases come out, you'll see the parallels dip a bit more. The base, actually, I was surprised at where the base was. $20 about sales price right now, I think is not too bad. I think when it comes down, it's I don't know. I think the lowest it'll hit before the season starts is maybe $10, maybe.
I think
But I think it'll stay around 15.
I do want to make a Wander play, and the play I want to make though is I want to get a vintage stock one. I want to get a number to 99.
Yeah,
on the good card stock.
yeah,
That would be the one I would want to buy. Honestly,
yeah.
who knows how long it'll take for a lot of those to come up, and what they'll go for when they come out. But But those are always better card stock, especially with the production increases. That's the only parallel that will be on a different card stock. Just so you guys know that at home, as far as his base card goes. So that's what I would like.
There's one on eBay right now, Brad. Get on it.
Is there really?
$22.50 your best offer.
That's it.
Newly listed.
Oh boy,
I like it.
I love it. Let me go find.
What number does he wear?
It's a good question.
Is he like number 8 or something?
Number
No,
5.
I like that play.
He's number 5.
Vintage stock.
Yep, I just added it to my watch list. The vintage stock, yeah, absolutely. And for anybody who doesn't know, I'll bring it on the screen before we get out of here. So for those of you watching on YouTube, you'll be able to see this. Audio people, I'm just putting a picture of the card on the screen. The top right corner with the old school Topps logo with the big looping T. That's how you can tell without seeing the back of the card. But the card stock is different. And then on the back, does they even show the serial number anywhere? He doesn't even... Oh, I gotta scroll up.
Yeah, I think it's 17 or something.
17 out of 99. It'll be on the back of the card, of course. But that's all, man. But yeah, I like that move. If I'm making a Wander move, it's either that or pick up a handful of his autographs. Honestly, so the flagship ink for every rookie's underrated. The chrome ink will sell for so much more. Like Tatis, I think somebody brought up a Tatis ink, and it was like 1,000 somewhere in there. I could be wrong. I really don't know, but the vintage stock would be the move for me, personally. If you could get a good quality one. And his short print's actually badass. I don't know if you've seen it or not, Pav.
I did see it, yeah.
It is in the Devil Rays uniform.
Yep. Do they have an SSP or just the SP?
Yes, I believe there is.
I haven't seen one of those yet.
I believe I saw one, and it wasn't on eBay. Yes, here it is. I got it. It's actually in the Devil Rays uniform too, and it's even better. It's even better than the short print. But again, YouTube people, here's the SSP. It's at $16.25 on bid right now.
Oh yeah, that's nice.
Yeah, it's a nice card. It's a good shot. Dirty. Celebrating a run. Or being safe or something. Nice card. Really nice card. But that's really all.
Big money.
That's all we have to get excited about. So, I've talked to a few people about guests on the upcoming show. If anybody listening at home wants to join the show, go to undergroundcasebreaks.com / let me tell you. Hang on. Let me make sure I tell you right. Yeah. It's just go to undergroundcasebreaks.com and go to the Underground Runaround podcast tab. There's a form you can fill out if you want to join us on the show. Hit us up on the socials at UG Runaround Pod on Twitter. That's all I have for now because that's all I can really maintain and keep up with. But we do have some really cool people in the works. Like I said, we reached out to Brian Gray. We're hoping to get him on the show next month. He's the owner of Leaf Trading Cards, which is would be a very exciting opportunity for us just to talk with him. Just a few other people that are in the hobby that I don't want to name, but I have spoken with, and everybody seems to be on board with the idea. One guy has a book out on the hobby. You guys might be able to figure that out. I started reading his book. He actually does a podcast too. I didn't even know that till yesterday. But I had already asked him just on a feeler. He definitely comes on. He makes custom cards too. He's somebody I really want to have on the show. I think he'd be great. He's a super collector as well, so you guys will probably know who I'm talking about. But I'll let him tell you when we get him on the show. That'll probably be soon, or I'll try to make that within the next few episodes, especially while we're waiting for baseball, anything baseball related. So, Pav, man, good to see you. I hope you get
Yes,
your
sir.
Facebook back eventually. You know,
Someday.
yeah, man.
I'm not missing it a whole bunch. Other than seeing the baseball cards, that's the part that really
Yeah,
sucks.
I like getting away from it. I'm leaving town this weekend anyway, just to get away from it for a weekend. Good little refresh. That's all. Come back, get them batteries charged up, man.
It just kills me. I made a new Facebook, which Brad knows, and like I added only Brad and my significant other as my only friends,
He
and
still got banned.
still got banned. I don't even understand it. It's the stupidest shit.
You didn't even make a post with it, right?
Didn't even make a post. I really did it like just so I could be in
Right.
our little group chat with
Yeah.
a couple other collectors that we talked to, and like I was in that group chat for a day and a half. I don't know, and there wasn't even anything inappropriate or nothing. It just doesn't make sense. Facebook just hates me. I don't give a fuck.
Yeah. So we might never see Pav back on Facebook, but
I'll be back someday. I'm on LinkedIn. If you're that's like the real business people, right?
I got that LinkedIn profile. I remember when I started in business, I added every single person that had like Panini or Tops in their thing, and not one of them accepted any of my shit. I guess LinkedIn isn't the place for me, and I just logged out, you know. But that's it, everybody. If you listened or watched, please comment or let us know. On the post that I post on social media isn't necessarily the best for the podcast. So if you don't mind, if you see it on YouTube, leave a comment on the YouTube video. That helps get it across to more people. The podcast on the audio, on Spotify, you can leave a rating. So stars, Apple, you can leave a rating and a review. So leave us a review. If you don't like it, I don't have a problem with you leaving a review saying you don't like it. Obviously, I would prefer you didn't, but I'm not going to tell people not to do that. Every little bit has got to help. And everything, all the feedback we've gotten has been great. We've gotten a lot of people complain about length, but again, we're never going to make this show real short. And I thank everybody for watching it. It just lets you break it up into chunks so you get more content for your buck. So if we only put out an episode a week, you break it down into half-hour time slots where you got time. Now you're getting 4 or 5 episodes out of a 1-week show. So thank you guys so much for listening and watching. Another big shout-out to our guest, Blake, for joining us this evening from Deep Fried Breaks. He's a really good dude. He does business the right way. I've never had a single issue with an order from him, ever. I know that doesn't say much being the guy that runs the show, but I've never even had to ask Blake, like, hey, what's up? Nothing. Never an issue. Top-notch dude, even for a Bama fan. And Pav, as always, thanks for running around with us, brother. We'll see you guys next time.